Hope is the very thing that allows us to approach problems with the mindset and ambition to succeed. It is that glimmering light that guides us through the darkest of times. Hope is what inspires change and what offers possibility for a more promising future. Today, we welcome guest entrepreneur Shawn Brown of Rochester, New York's Team Empowerment, plus the music and interview with Rochester native and North Carolina singer-songwriter Tamara Simone. I'm your host, Amanda Ashley, and this is Afternoon Cocktail episode 50. This is our 50th episode. Yay. Welcome. And welcoming my beautiful friend, Miss Tamara Simone. Tamara, how are you, love? Are you muted?
Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm doing awesome. I'm doing really good. I can't complain.
Good. That's the way to be. I love it. Good to see you. What are you going to sing for us?
Well, I'm going to sing a song called Neon Cloud. It totally goes with the topic of hope. It's something that I wrote while I was in West Africa. I was laying on the beach and the clouds were beautiful and the sun was going down and all the clouds were like neon and it was pinks and greens and blues and oranges. And so it inspired the song called Neon Cloud. And it's about just, moving into my destiny, not letting fear or anything get in my way. So, yeah.
Love it. Let's take it away.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Go into my destiny. It's scary, but it has to be. I just wanna be happy. This world will try to take me, trick me and fool me, but I found love and where I'm supposed to be. I'm on a neon cloud. Don't try to get me down. I'm in a higher place, taking me to another space. I'm on a neon cloud. Don't try to get me down. I'm in a higher place, taking me to another space. Oh, it feels so good to finally be free. Free to be all I can be. Free from your pretty boxes, labels and expectations. Focused on what makes me happy, because that's how it should be. I'm on a neon cloud. Don't try to get me down. I'm in a higher place, taking me to another space. I'm on a neon cloud. Don't try to get me down. I'm in a higher place, taking me to another space. I'm floating, floating, I'm floating. I'm moving in my destiny. I'm floating, I'm floating, I'm floating. I'm moving in my destiny. I'm floating. I'm floating. I'm floating. I'm moving in my destiny. I'm floating. 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 I'm on a neon cloud. Don't try to get me down. I'm in a higher place, taking me to another space. I'm on a neon cloud, yeah. You can't pull me down. I'm in a higher place, taking me to another space, yeah. That's it.
I love it. So beautiful.
Thank you.
Tamara, I mean, tell us about your experience. I mean, I know you just kind of got into it. You said you were in West Africa when you wrote that?
Yeah, yeah. I was in West Africa. I was asked to sing at a women's empowerment conference out there in Senegal, West Africa.
Wow,
And
how incredible.
yes, and I was there for a week and I got to sit in panels and discussions with different leaders around the country about how women, the importance of women and their roles and getting out of the traditional way of women's roles. And they chose me to be the voice and the music of it, and I got to sing in front of Akon and different, African like celebrities and different. It was just so cool. And it's something I'll never forget. I still keep in touch with everybody there. And I've been blessed to be able to travel and sing all over the world, Spain um, and Dominican Republic, just different places like that. So it's great.
How did that door present itself to you? Did you know somebody that like recommended, that they'd reach out to you? Or I mean, how did that connection get made?
Yeah, so the connection got made through a Rochester native who knows one of the huge leaders over in not in South Africa, but in Senegal, West Africa, and he was talking to her about this empowerment, women's empowerment, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm looking for some type of musician, or somebody from the U.S. Like, let me know." And I'm like, and she's like, "Yeah, I know this girl Tamara." So that was really cool that she connected me to that, and I was like, yes, take me to Africa.
Yeah, right. What an opportunity.
Uh-huh, yes.
What was your greatest takeaway from that experience? I mean, what did you I always feel like every time I travel, especially when you're traveling out of country, you learn something new about yourself. I mean, and with you being surrounded by so much inspiration, I mean, what did you come back with?
I would say I came back with just a appreciation of how music can cross all types of bounds, and like, even there were people who didn't know English, and they were crying when I was singing, so it was just like. And then this woman translated for me, one of the ladies, and she was saying how she felt my words. She didn't know what I was saying, but she felt my spirit and my soul. Um, and so that was really great. And then just the connection of people. I'm a people person, so just the human connection. Um,
Oh, Tamara, I think you just froze a little bit. We lost you in our actual connection, I think. All right. So, Tamara, while you reconnect with us, I am going to say hello to Shawn. Shawn, are
I'm
you
here.
with us?
I'm here. What's going on, Amanda? How are you?
Hey, I'm pretty good. Give Tamara a
Pat,
minute to reconnect with us. But so Shawn, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, you're from where are you right now?
I am on a lake in Detroit, Michigan, on my way to San Diego. But I'm a Rochester native, Rochester boy. My friends call me the Underground Mayor of Rochester, for all the right reasons. Just being a connector, But yeah, just working in the community, a man of many talents and interests and hobbies. So if you want to talk politics, social justice, history, sports, hip hop, sneakers, food, traveling, dogs, I'm your guy. I'm your guy.
You covered all, you cover all the
Yeah,
bases.
yeah,
I
yeah,
like
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's why I brought you here, right? So tell us a little bit about you. I mean, give us a little background about you, and tell us about a team empowerment. I think what you're doing is really extraordinary. Can you tell us
Oh,
a little bit about your company's mission?
yeah, absolutely. So, teen empowerment, we've been around for 28 years. We started down in Boston, Massachusetts, and we've been in Rochester for about 16 years. And we hire, so we employ young folks ages 14 to 19 in the role of youth organizer. It's a paid position. They get to look at the issues that young people face in the Southwest neighborhood where we're currently located, in the city as a whole, and come up with initiatives, projects, and strategies around those issues. So obviously, all the things that are going on in our community in Rochester and around the nation, the young people dig into institutional racism and oppression, interactions with the police, poverty, doing work with the folks that are trying to bring the resources, the $86 million of foundation aid that's owed from Governor Cuomo, from Albany back to Rochester to the Rochester City School District. So really being involved in that policy work, but then also organizing their peers to come to events that are deep and conscious. And when the young people get to use the verbal arts, so a lot of poetry, spoken word, rap, skits, singing, and really letting young people lead other young people through the language of young people, and really get behind this movement to try to transform Rochester through the eyes, power, and potential of young people.
I mean, how dealing with teenagers? I mean, I mean, we have a wealth of um, really misfortunate things happening, in our history. So at this moment, but I mean, teens dealing with teens specifically. I mean, obviously, COVID has had quite the impact on teens, given our circumstance, with going on lockdown. I mean, being going back to being a teenager, like everything, your emotions are heightened, right? And
Absolutely,
you
absolutely.
take things harder, like mentally, everybody's trying to figure themselves out, and come into their own skin. How has this time, affected your business and your interaction with teens, and what new set of problems do you see them presenting to you as they come to you for guidance and trying to get through these times?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I love working with young folks. I think teens just bring such a unique perspective and energy to solutions, especially when really given a seat at the table. People make decisions behind closed doors about young folks all the time, and never allow young people to use their voice and input and their social capital impact those decisions. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think we get older, and I think sometimes we forget what it's like to be a teenager. And I
Mhm.
think sometimes rules and policies and the finger gets wagged at young people, like they're the problem. But also, I think the root, but sometimes that anger and frustration that young people exhibit is from the lack of opportunity, from the lack of resources, being criminalized, right? The fact that we got the school resource officers that were Rochester police officers out of the schools, moving forward whenever we get back to being in school, is a huge step, right? We talk about the school to prison pipeline. And when you have police officers in your school and you and I would get into a fight, we would both go to jail, have to go to court, get a probation officer, and now you could be 14 years old and just have a bad day based on a lot of other things that we know are going on, and impact young people of color's lives. And your whole thing could be kind of out of whack. But during quarantine time, so normally we meet with the young people. They work about 15 hours a week. We work Monday through Thursday for about 2.5 to 3 hours a day. We have a really interactive model that really allows young people to use their voice, work in collaborations, to really see an issue, and then work together to bring solutions to that issue. So obviously, it's kind of like a family. We're in a semicircle every day. So obviously, when March came and the shutdown came, that part of our model and how we normally interact with the young people changed. But we hopped on this format that we're on right now, Zoom. So nothing really changed besides the format. We still work with the young people Monday through Thursday. We were already doing this yoga mental health component, which you kind of touched on a little bit earlier. So we still did yoga every Thursday through Zoom with our good friend Lynn Boucher over at Rock City Yoga. And so we just looked at the opportunity or the crisis as a way to kind of still engage young people. We did a bunch of online events. So we did like, a documentary screening. We had some open mics, got some pieces out in the world. So really still finding ways to organize, engage young people, even in this new Zoom space that we're all now living in. But I think it's important, right? It's a skill that I think young people and all of us really are going to need going forward. Is how do we master this new tech and this new interaction that is virtual?
Yeah. Extraordinary. So tell us, well, one of the things that I really admire most about teen empowerment is its ability to restore hope for a better future. Can you share with us an experience which really impacted your will to create a space like this where people could thrive and be sanctioned from like really the harsh reality of our surroundings?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really what teen empowerment was really based on. If you go back to the creation, it was really the understanding that young people and communities that have been marginalized, communities of color, had these issues that were pressing the community, and more specifically the young folks, right? So I
Mm.
think simply giving young people an opportunity to use their voice, their opinion, what they see, to enact change on the issues that they go through and see every day. Obviously with the footage coming out in Rochester of Daniel Prude, rest his soul. All the young people that I work with called me, right? I think seeing George Floyd, hearing about Breonna Taylor, hearing about Amara Osbury, I think those things hit home. But I think the fact that like we're located on the west side of the city, um, that man lost his life literally like 2 blocks away from our teen empowerment building. The young people felt that in a much like deeper way. And so yeah, giving them the opportunity, the platform. They're going to be protesting, being involved, talking from the mic hopefully this weekend. To again really get that youth perspective out in the world. We always hear from the adults. But I think again, like we gotta give this room for the young people. So I guess the thing that does give me hope, because maybe I would have lost hope a long time ago, is I've been blessed to like work with young folks, and just kind of feel that spirit, and try to like reflect that energy and that positivity for them. Be something different, and we can work together to make this thing be better.
Absolutely. I think it's so good to see the kids react to this, because this is life, right? Like, and it hits home, but it really hits home when it's actually taking place in your city. And like I don't know, it's crazy. It's so disappointing and so scary to me, like all this stuff that's happening. But to see, yeah, for kids to have that voice to say, hey, you know what? I'm a person too, and I have feelings, and I have feelings on this, that shouldn't be neglected. These kids are allowed to feel that, and I think that's great what you're doing, like to bring that voice to them. It's amazing. What awareness would you like to bring to our community, and how can we take part in the movement to create a better place for us all to peacefully coexist?
Oh man. I mean, I think if we start with young people, I think it's just all of us like collectively like uplifting their voices. I think creating more jobs for young people in meaningful positions and roles. I think definitely working collectively to change and impact and bring a better education, and support the RCSD in any way we can, and be possible. But yeah, I mean, I think it's some time for some honest conversations, and I think some conversations that were long overdue. I love the energy that I'm seeing. I think all across the country, and in Rochester too. That I think enough is enough. I think this world of white and black in America. I think we know the history, and I think we all skirted around it, and I think some folks had the pleasure of skirting around it, and other people didn't. And so a lot of things that have been going on. Folks that look like me had known this to be truth for a long time, right? Folks have been screaming for 400 years about what needs to change and what equity and fairness and respect should look like in this country. So, I mean, I think the fight continues, the work continues. I feel like we all have a part in this transformation. There's different roles for everybody, right? There's some people that are going to be protesting. We need people working on legislation. We need people out in the streets with folks, talking to young people. We need mentors, and we need a lot of love. I guess when I do lose hope, I guess my hope is always renewed, because I feel like love is the one thing I feel like is infinite, the one thing that's pure, the one thing that doesn't change. And I think as long as we keep doing that, loving ourselves, loving each other, trying to see and respect and understand each other, I think that'll be a step in the right direction. We still got lots and lots and lots and lots of work to do, but we know it's a slow grind and it's a process. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, amen to that. Hey, Shawn, if you don't mind, I wouldn't mind. I'd like to bring Tamara into this conversation with us, if that's cool. Um,
Absolutely.
I mean, Tamara, you're a Rochester native, and how long have you been in Charlottesville now?
I've been in Charlotte, North Carolina for 3 years now.
Oh, Charlotte, not Charlottesville. I don't
Yeah.
know. I said Charlottesville.
I don't
All
want to
right.
live in Charlottesville.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah,
I was gonna
that's the
say,
bad city. That's got a bad
yeah,
connotation. That's got a bad
Yes.
connotation. Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. I mean,
Yes.
Tamara, I mean, hearing this news from your city, I mean, how do you respond to that? Like, I mean, how does this all like make you feel? Obviously, like you felt everything. I know. I see your posts.
Yeah.
I hear your music.
Mhm.
Like, how does this make you feel? Like to hear that from our own city, like, we got blood on our hands.
Right. I think for me, the first thing that came to my mind was like, I'm just not surprised. It's not something where I'm like, not in our city, because it's no matter where. America is America. A lot of times we like to make, certain regions and areas are always more racist or this and that. But America is America, and America is run by white supremacy and our education system. Thank God for Shawn being able to be a presence, and then our public safety system is run by white supremacy. Those are the two budgets that in any city that are going to have the most money, are those two, and those are run by uh, a mindset of white supremacy and keeping whiteness at the forefront and oppressing Black people and brown people. So I wasn't surprised, and I wasn't. I was just hoping that it wasn't going to happen anytime soon. And I'm sure, and if you think about it, this was swept under the rug for since March, and
Yeah.
who knows how many more of these has happened in our city. And the
Or
justice,
anywhere,
or
nonetheless.
anywhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The ones that we're hearing of are probably are most likely, I can guarantee you, not even the tip of the iceberg of the amount that is continuously happening. So and I'm sad for my city. I'm glad that people are standing up like every other city. It's not, it's just going to happen. And I'm glad that that Rochester had a template to look at, had something to go off of to be able to say, okay, this is what worked here. Let's see if we can do this here. Because we've been, in other cities, and they're still protesting for Breonna Taylor, and they're still protesting. So I'm just hoping that they continue it, that it stays consistent, and that people just keep, fighting the good fight for freedom and justice for that man.
Do you find yourself inspired by all of this? Like, I mean, do you find it harder to create because there's so much
Whew.
noise?
Oh man, I feel like it's hard because it's not something that I'm just looking in on. It's something that it is a part of me. It's not something that I have the luxury to say, all those poor people are going through that. It's like I feel it. So it's like it is hard to create. It is hard to be inspired. And one of my good friends, Brianna, she was like, "Hey, Tamara, like try to write down how you feel. Like right now, write. It don't even have to be a song. Just write everything down, and it could turn into a song." And me and
Yeah.
her was actually talking about that last night, and we wrote down some of the things that we were feeling together, and I ended up writing, some stuff this morning, so I'm just thankful that I have friends that are like looking out, because we're drained, we're drained and we're tired, and it's okay for us to be tired. It's okay for us to be drained, and to take time for ourselves to make sure that we're mentally okay, to be in finding ways and avenues. And it did help for me to write down how I felt, even if it didn't have a melody yet, but to write it down. So um, I'm just like recently getting into writing about what's going on right now.
It's hard. Like when I go to sit and write, I mean, I've been focusing a lot of my writing for the show, and
Yeah.
like all these conversations and themes that we've been talking about. That's really where I, it's writing has helped me get through the emotions of everything, and
Hmm.
there's there's so much to feel, so much I'm feeling, that it's overwhelming actually to sit down and try to write a song because I don't even know where to
Yeah.
start
Start
you
right.
know I'm sure I think like you're not alone on that. I'm not alone on that. Like a lot
No.
of my fellow songwriters feel that way. So yeah, it's crazy. I have a
Yeah.
question for both of you guys. I'd love to get an answer from both you and Shawn.
Okay.
In general, hope means a positive wish for things to improve for the better and to have a positive expectation for a better future. What future do you wish to see?
um wow. I i wish to see a future if we're speaking in context of what's going on in with Black Lives Matter and the state of the country, um and even for myself, is to see Black people thriving and Black people unified, enough to dismantle the systems that are, um, continuously, for like my brother Shawn said, 400 years. Like I want to see that finally dismantled, and to see a better. Black people have been thriving in a lot of ways, not even surviving, but thriving in a system and in a country that does not really work for us. They allow a certain amount of people, and then they use those as exceptions and say, hey, you can do it, this and that. Michael Jordan did it. But as a whole, we're not. There is an extra struggle that we have, and I would love to see us as Black people unified enough um to connect and unify and create our own systems and our own things. Um, Meanwhile, instead of just waiting for the world to change for us to kind of create our own thing, so we're not dependent on a country that does not really want to let us in or let us have a seat at the table, unless you act a certain way, unless you're docile, unless you wear your hair a certain way. And that's how it's been. So I just want Black people to unify, no matter whether we're gay, straight, Christian, atheist. I think that's my biggest thing, is just to see Black people unified. And I think once we unify, then things will be, a lot easier. Freedom will be a lot easier to get to.
Sure. Shawn, how about you? What future do you wish to see?
Oh man, I think me retiring very soon in the next couple years on an island.
Me too.
I want a little bit of land, some dogs, couple goats, some vegetables, some fruit. Um, I don't know. I think yeah. The follow up what my sister was saying. I feel like Babylon must fall. Like whatever the world that we know now. It was kind of like the quarantine, right? Like everyone says, like we want to go back to normal, right? But like things are never going back to normal. So I think like to Babylon must fall, blow up whatever social construct we currently live in. And I think what resurrects out of that, um, has to be, it's almost funny. It's almost like if everyone has like, $100, then I guess like, and everything is fair with that $100, and then whatever you do with that $100 is on you. And I know that's like not the world we live in, but I guess that's the world that like I want to see. We talk about history with the young folks all the time at Teen Empowerment, and a lot of times I'll say, well, when was like the best time for like black folks, like economically and academically, right? And sometimes young people struggle. But if you go back to like the early 1900s, you look at a place like Tulsa, when we had Black Wall Street, right? And again, to support what this queen is down here saying, when you had black schools, black banks, black doctors, black architects, right? Everything in a community, it was self-sustaining, and it wasn't dependent on anything else, but it still coexisted with everything else around it, right? And so I don't know. It, I feel like sometimes like life is presented to us in a very complicated way, but I don't always think it's as complicated as as sometimes we are made to make it believe, right? And so I think we know what needs to happen, where I feel like some folks do, but the white power structure, white supremacy culture, obviously these shifts have to happen, and that's got to be met with like all this intensity on the street, but that also has to be met with legislation and policy too, to like dismantle, change, and take some things off the books that just aren't fair, and are just disproportionately aimed and focused at people of color. So, you know,
I have this question for both of you guys again. I mean, how has hope helped you overcome some of those darker points in life, and or how is hope helping you cope right now?
Huh. It's crazy because like I honestly I was one of the things that I wrote last night. The more things change, the more they stay the same. That was
Mhm.
one of the things that kept coming to my mind, and I'm trying to find the hope in a lot of this because it's like it keeps repeating itself. Like history keeps. It's like I don't really want I don't even have children, but if I was to have children, I don't want them to have to do the same thing. Like I don't want to see my niece having to, who's 8 years old now, having to have to go through the same stuff. Like it can be really heartening for you, and it's like it causes you not to have hope. But looking at the youth, and I'm not gonna cry. Mm,
Mm.
Looking at the youth and looking at our young people is what gives us hope. That's why we're doing it. We're not doing this for performative. This is not performative. This is for a better future for our kids. And we just want, I don't even have children, but I look at kids and they are all my kids, and I just want better for them. I don't want them to have to do this again, you know? So it keeps, the hope has to go through them. When you see children smiling, even through this what's going on, and they know what's happening, but they still are playing. They're still trying to make you laugh, and they're still trying to find some normalcy. It's like you do it for them, and you have hope, and you put a face of hope on for our youth because they matter, and you want to see them be able to live out their God-given destiny. And that's what brings me hope is children. So
I think
yeah.
Sean could relate to that.
absolutely. I mean, I feel like hope is all we got.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel, you know what I mean? Like, again, I feel like we're standing on shoulders. This is a fight that folks that came long before us understood they was fighting for, and they would never see um, those works come to fruition. In a lot of ways, I feel the same way, right? Like, it's like something I give like my soul to, and you see little wins here and there, and see progress. But then also, I'm 44, so I always look at things like I was born in 1976. So like, 64 to 76, like a lot of like historic things happen. Like literally, like right in the realm where I was born, right? Where like the country looked a lot different back then, but in some ways we're reflecting some things now. You know what I mean? So I think just like the hope and the fight, the persevere, um, because I feel like you just got to like dream and believe that like something better is coming. Like, you know what I mean? So I feel like hope always has to be met with like action, I feel like too, right? Because I feel like if you just hope with no action, if it's not intentional, if it doesn't have a plan, then that's I don't know what that is. That's you know what I mean. That's nothing, right? And so, but again, I hope that allowing and giving space for all of us to build community. um, I'm hopeful that those acts of like love and kindness and communication and listening, because again, like even the conversation of white privilege and how that works and all this terminology, how to be anti-racist, right? Like all this language that I felt like black folks understood, right? And sometimes they didn't have to put a fancy word on it. I knew what it was when I was 8 years old. You know what I mean? But the fact that we have like all this energy and there are white folks like literally like reading this stuff, looking at the mirror, looking at their reflection, look at how they might have been complicit in whatever way, right? Because obviously this system has conditioned us all, right? You know what I mean? Even me, like I'm always thinking like, how people like see me and view me, right? And so I do these panels and talks to mostly white crowds, mostly white folks that are a little bit older and a little bit more mature in age. And I always say that like, you folks respect me because I'm in the room with these 100 people and I'm a so-called expert because someone asked me to be here and to share my thoughts. But I say, if you saw me and you didn't know me, and we were walking down the street, or we were in a parking lot, or we were in some public space and you saw me, then like would the respect and the view of me be the same, right? And so I think again we got to like start attacking like the root problems and stop looking at the distractions. And I think if we can like focus on those root issues, to like why our country is the way it is, why redlining made neighborhoods the way they are, why gentrification has made things the way they are, that affects the education system, you know what I mean, the white flight, until we start looking at all these factors that have created the mess we have now. I'm hopeful that like all the conversation will lead to that, and that will be the fundamental change that'll like be something new that comes in America. I'm still hopeful that it can happen.
Yeah, me too. Tamara, tell us. Let's drop the heavy weight for a second. Okay,
Yay!
what what do you have coming up? I mean, are you recording? Are you what are your plans for creation?
I have been recording.
Yay.
So I'm excited. I'm just like recording a whole bunch of stuff, writing a whole bunch of stuff. And I am just like sitting, gonna sit on it until I get all, how it goes, Amanda. You gotta have the photo shoot, you gotta do all this stuff to kind of bring out this artwork out there. So I've been creating. My cousin who lives down here in Charlotte as well, he has like a studio and all that kind of stuff. So it kind of helps it, for me to be able to be with my family and during this quarantine stuff and record. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. I also have been doing like a food review. I have a food review page because I
I
love food.
saw that. I love
Yeah,
that. That's so
but
cool.
yeah, but not in a greedy way. I'm not greedy. I'm very uppity and bougie when it comes to food. So I'm always trying to help people find good food. So people call me and they're like, Tamara, where should I go to brunch? I'm like, I got you, and I send them these places. And so I'm trying to be like the next, Anthony Bourdain. Like that's like one of my goals. So so I'm like, so I have a Instagram called Tasty Charlotte, and I go and I eat food all over the city and give people, advice on where to go. So that's been a lot of fun.
I love it.
So
I think that's such a great idea. Yeah, kind of like
yeah.
eat your way through the city.
Yes, yes, yes. And I'm learning, the city better in the different areas and stuff like that. So it's good.
Awesome. And any upcoming events for you, Shawn? Where can our audience be directed to teen empowerment and learning more, and maybe even participating in your program?
I just don't want to hear Tamara talk more. I'd be like, dang, I gotta talk after Tamara, man. Like she got obviously so much good stuff. So yeah, teen empowerment. We're on Instagram. I guess you gotta do all your social media now these days.
Oh yeah.
TE_ROC_city on Facebook at Teen Empowerment Rochester. Our website is teenempowerment.org. Folks can hit me. I'll give my information. I'm not scared of the world. If you want to email me, it's Shawn, SHAWN, at teenempowerment.org. Right now, so we finished up this summer program we had. It's the second year we've been doing it. We hired a group of young people in the role of youth history ambassador. And they did this whole series and project around the history of the Clarissa Street neighborhood, what used to be called the Third Ward neighborhood back in the days in Rochester. It was actually one of the only two places that Black folks could live back in the days. Because again, when we talk about like policy and legislation, as early as the early 70s, most of the suburbs in Rochester still had written in their bylaws that folks that were non-white could not buy and own property, right? So again, a couple years before I came on the planet. And so they learned all this history about all these amazing things, people in this neighborhood. The old AMZ Giant Church, I think, has been around since the 1800s, 1861, maybe. I might be wrong on that date. But the fact that like Susan B. Anthony did her last address there, Frederick Douglass ran the North Star newspaper out of that building. Harriet Tubman, when she was bringing enslaved folks from down south up north on their way to where they're going, brought folks through that church, and young people really doing like poetry and spoken word, and resurrecting the spirit of those great leaders from back in the day. So they did a huge performance stage last summer. Would have been right up your alley, Tamara. A bunch of music, spoken word, rap skits, all young folks for 8 hours. 8 hours of youth entertainment to go coincide with all the grown folk activities that was going on at the Clarissa Street reunion. And even the partnership, I don't want to take too much time, was dope because the reunion's been going around for about 20 years. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, young people having nothing to do, young people not having any place that will accept them. Sometimes elders that look like them not accepting them. They went to the Clarissa Street reunion. A couple of fights happened. So then, of course, the wedge between the older folks and the younger folks widened. And so, teen empowerment and collaboration with the Clarissa Street reunion planning committee decided to kind of like create this project to kind of infuse, right? Because again, our history, what we are, our traditions, our lineage is passed from person to person, right? That village has to remain strong, so we won't lose all that. And so this year, since COVID, we couldn't do the reunion and be outside. They did a documentary screening with the Little Theater that was virtual, and then we also did an in-person screening over at the Visual Studios workshop outside on the lawn, projected up on the building. It was real dope. And when we get back from our little like break, let the young people settle into school. We'll start our hiring process. So every year we interview about 300 young people just from the one neighborhood we're in right now for 14 spots of youth organizers. So we'll start that hiring process, get that new crew hired so they can start doing the work in the community. And then also, good news for the city of Rochester, we're expanding to another neighborhood. So looking at the beginning of next year, January 2021, we'll also be in the Beechwood neighborhood. So now we'll have a west side site, an east side site. And for folks that know your Rochester history, the beef and the imaginary territory between the east and west is still very strong. It was raging before my mama and daddy got into it. My generation, this younger generation. So it's our dream that I have in these two sites. We can organize young people on both sides of town, bring them together, and once and for all, unify young people across Rochester in some peace, love, and everybody moving in the right direction. So that's a little bit we got coming up.
Awesome, Shawn. Thank you for all that you do for our community and for, keeping it real with us. It's I think these conversations are really important to be had, and it's good to have both yours and Tamara's perspective on this and heartfelt honesty. Tamara, where can our audience be directed to? I mean, where can they hear your music, and where can they read your blog and find all
Right.
your food critiques?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm on all of the music streaming, Apple Music and Spotify and all those. Tamara, Simone, my album, my EP, Big Hair is on there. So you can stream it from there. You can go to tamaramusic.com. You can get information off of there. My Instagram is Tamara Simone. And you can get, see everything that's happening there. And then with my Tasty Charlotte food review page, it's on YouTube. It's a YouTube series. You can watch all the episodes on YouTube. Just type in Tasty Charlotte, and I'm the first thing that comes up. And you'll get to see me eat amazing sushi. And down here in Charlotte, chicken sandwiches are huge. So, I had to find the best chicken sandwich in Charlotte, and I found it. And so just having just enjoying music and food and good people. If you like that, I'm your type of girl. I'm your music. I'm like, just hit me up. So those are the places you can hit me up. And I can't wait to come back home to Rochester and be able to, once everything settles, so I can do a show out there again. The last time I did a show out there was last summer when I was, and it was sold out and it was great. And I hope to do something like that again, because I miss my Rochester family and fans out there. So I'm excited.
I'm sure we miss you too.
I was gonna say
Tamara,
we
where?
miss you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we need you back.
Yeah.
Tamara, where, I mean, do you play with a band out in Charlotte?
Yes, I do. Obviously, not really much now, and I'm not a big fan of the whole Zoom and virtual thing that much. I'm like, I need people right in front of me. So once things start to open up, they're starting to open up more in Charlotte. Our numbers are awesome when it comes to the COVID thing. But I do have a band, and I have a girl bass player, so I'm so excited about that.
That's cool.
Yes, and
Yeah.
guitar player. So I'm excited about having women a part of my band, and just good-hearted people. So I do have a live band out here that I get to perform with once things settle down a bit.
Sure. Well, I look forward to hearing more from you,
Yay.
and I wish you so well. And
Thank you
yeah,
so much.
definitely let us know when you're back. Do you want to close us out with one more song?
Yes. So this song I wrote, and it's perfect for hope, because um it's a song that I wrote about love and black love. And during this time, to be able to look at someone who looks like me, and I don't even have to say a word, and they understand what I'm going through during this time, is just a blessing. So this is a song that I wrote when I was in love. I'm not in love right now. But it was it was a song about hope and love, and I do believe in love. So even though I went through a lot with love, and not anything that was like drastic, but sometimes love has to end, and I still have hope, and I still believe in love. So this song is about hope with love. Okay.
Got it.
All right. Mm, yeah. Mm. Beautiful black man, he was kissed by the sun. The first time I met him, I knew he was the one. From the pretty brown eyes, dark skin complexion, yeah. He had me sprung when he looked in my direction. Oh, I don't know what to say. I think about him night and day. Oh, I don't know what to do. Wanna spend my life in love with you. As the days turn to months, turning years, I'm confessing. Love and dedication you giving is a blessing, yeah. You brought color to my world. I thank the Lord every day for giving me this man. Oh, I don't know what to say. I think about him night and day. Oh, I Don't know what to do. Wanna spend my life in love with you. Oh, I don't know what to say. I think about him night and day. Oh, I don't know what to do. Wanna spend my life in love with you. A diddly da, hey, a diddly down now. 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 Oh, I don't know what to say. I want to know something, y'all. If you believe in love, say whoa. If you
Whoa.
believe in love, say whoa.
Whoa.
Believe in
Whoa.
love, say whoa. Say it now. If you
Whoa.
believe in love, say whoa.
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 Yeah. Yes, I love it. I love it. So that's that.
That's the thing y'all don't know about me. My mama will tell you I can't sing a lick, but I love to sing. I put so
Yes.
much emotion into it. You know what I mean? But yeah, so anytime you want some background vocals, either one of
Yes,
y'all,
Sean.
you know what
We
I mean?
got
I
your
do it
back,
for free.
Tamra.
I do it for free. You know what I mean? I do it for free anytime. You know what I mean? Ad libs, skits in between songs. Hit
I
Yes,
me up.
love
but
it.
I'm
Sean,
out here.
Sean, that's good.
Yeah.
So there's an African proverb that says if you can walk, you can dance, and if you can talk, you can sing.
Sing exactly. Yeah. I
It's
know.
not
Yeah, I know.
just for
Yeah.
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 Hey, you
It's the
guys.
spirit. Yeah.
You two rock. Thank you so much for being on the show and for bringing your spirit to our show. I really appreciate you both and wish you well. I want to
You.
leave you off with my thoughts on hope. All right.
Yeah.
So, we all carry hope inside for something, it's an inherent part of being human. Hope represents our ideal image of the future. It's the change we strive for our future selves and for the world we live in. It sees possibilities where none exist, and it propels our mission to move beyond whichever injustices serve our lives, both personally, in our communities, and beyond. It is an agent for the change we wish to see. It is what activates courage from within and is what aids us in overcoming whatever obstacles that stand in our way. It is very easy to surrender ourselves to hopelessness in times of worry, fear, and uncertainty. We are experiencing truly difficult times as we speak. If we allow ourselves to lose hope, then we are given into keeping things just the way they are. Hope is the key to making everyday life better. Allow it to activate your will and motivation to make yourself happier in all the ways that life carries meaning. Whatever steps you need to take, start taking them now. To see our vision through, we must set obtainable standards and work towards achieving both our short and long term goals. There are no easy tasks because life is no easy task. Begin making what's important to you a true priority. As always, once we begin to take care of the work within, we begin to spread knowledge to those whom we encounter. Together, our impact is greater when our wants and desires are in place for the common good. So please keep the hope alive. We all and can and will get through this. Thank you so much to Beau Productions. Shout out to James Farley of Northwestern Mutual and a Maiden Voyage Studios. Thanks to Compeer Rochester, Salvatore's Pizza, and Electronic Merchant Systems. I didn't get to do my shouties to my sponsors today, but Electronic Merchant Systems, if you guys need any help with accepting credit card payments, make sure you see the charge card guys here in Rochester. Compeer Rochester, thank you for your support in our program and for your support in our community. And make sure you get your pizza orders in tonight with Salvatore's and over the weekend with Salvatore's. This is our 50th episode. I can't believe it. Um, but we are taking a little pause to gear up for our third season. And we'll be taking a little time off. So in the meantime, you guys catch up on all 50 afternoon cocktails and go to our webpage at afternooncocktail.show and keep supporting amazing people like Tamra and Shawn. Thank you guys again. Have a great weekend, and we'll see
Thank
you in
you.
Thank
season
you.
3.
Thank you. Thank
Bye, you
you.
guys. You rock.
Bye.
Ciao.